So we're just about ready to start excavating this BioFalls down like we talked about earlier. But before we do that, we want to hook up our bulkhead fitting. So we're going to go over to our component bag that came with the BioFalls, pull out our bulkhead fitting. Now a bulkhead fitting, for those of you who have never heard what a bulkhead fitting is before, it's the waterproof connection that's going to go on the back side of our BioFalls. There's two things you have to remember when installing the bulkhead fitting. There's two washers on here. There's a rubber washer and a plastic washer. The rubber washer always goes on the water side of the container, so the inside of this container here. So we'll go ahead and put the rubber washer back on here. Colleen, I'm gonna have you hold this right here. Ed will put that plastic washer on, and then notice when Ed turns this on, it's a reverse thread. There's actually an arrow on the bulkhead fitting that says tighten this way. So we're gonna go ahead and finish tightening this with a large pair of channel locks. And as Ed tightens that, sometimes you need to come in here and hold this just a little bit. The other thing you wanna remember when tightening the bulkhead fitting, these are plastic threads on here. So Ed could continuously keep tightening this and tightening this and tightening this. Eventually he'll pop these plastic threads off. Really what you're looking for is that rubber washer just to push out a little bit past the bulkhead fitting in there. As soon as you see that rubber washer push out a little bit or swell up just a little bit, you know you're tight enough. Then we're gonna go ahead, take our silicone and our kink-free fitting, not this fitting. This fitting is used for flexible PVC, but because we're using 1.5" kink-free tubing, we're gonna go ahead and use the 1.5" barbed hose adapter. Ed's gonna put a little bit of silicone around the threads. So Ed's gonna go ahead, thread that inside of there. We usually go hand tight, and then we take our pair of channel locks and do one turn past hand tight. Now that we've got our watertight fitting on the back, our barbed hose adapter on here, we're gonna go ahead, take that 1.5" pipe, we're gonna slide one of the hose clamps that comes with the kit, and then wiggle this baby on there. A couple tricks. If you wanted to get a little bit of water on there, sometimes it slides on easier. Another really easy trick is just take some boiling water, some really hot water, submerge this in some hot water. It'll make this plastic a little bit more flexible, making it that much easier to slide that thing on there. We're gonna go ahead, tighten that down. All right guys, great job. The plumbing's all hooked up. That sets us up for our next step, and that's to dig this BioFalls down to our desired height, which then sets us up for the following step, which is excavation of the pond. So why don't we go ahead, mark this out, and then if you want to just kind of dig this down to the desired height that you're looking for, we can get this all set up over here. All right guys, that looks great. Now one of the things I want to remind you, as inadequate as this waterfall may look at this height, it's gonna look considerably larger when we start excavating the pond and this large 7 by 9 foot hole gets thrown up over here to create a berm. We're also gonna base the height of this a little bit off of what our desired water level is gonna be in the pond. So at this height, I'm thinking this is probably around a 15 to 16 inch high waterfall. Before we go ahead and go any farther though, you can see I've got a tamper here. We wanna pull this out really quick, compact this soil. So Colleen, if you just wanna kind of tamp that area for me, we wanna compact that soil because one of the worst things that could happen is that BioFall settle a little bit to your guys' right, a little bit to your guys' left, and then water is going left or right when we turn our waterfalls on. We've got this set at our desired height. It's really kind of whatever you guys want to do. Just know if you set it higher and higher and higher, you may need more and more soil. The amount of soil that's coming out of your excavated hole isn't going to be enough to create a 30 inch high waterfall in the right size berm. So we've got this set. Now we want to throw a level on there. Make sure it's perfectly level side to side. Again, that makes sure that the water, when it comes out of our BioFalls, comes out even. The other thing we want to do is put it front to back and make sure it's leaning slightly forward. And right now, it's actually leaning slightly backwards. So we have two options. We can come in, dig a little bit more in the front, or add a little bit of soil in the back. If we add soil in the back, make sure you compact that again. All right, now that we've got it all set, everything's level, we're gonna go ahead and backfill it. Make sure as you're backfilling the BioFalls, either somebody stands inside or at the very least holds it in place. That'll keep the BioFalls from being knocked left to right, backwards or forward. As they gently do that, burying that bulkhead fitting on the bottom, I continue to hold it, and then usually we come around and kind of compact that in with our hands or our feet, kind of gently stomping around it. As we get this secured, later, as we start excavating the pond, we can take our wheelbarrows of soil and just dump around the edges of this.